Hey everyone, this is Yoli Ench here and it's Purposefun Friday. Now today we're going to explore being socially enterprising. I've been delivering workshops that last a day or half a day around how to set up a social enterprise and delivered a number of different presentations across Queensland. Today though, I'm just going to give you a short video around what I see to be 3 key areas. So 3 by 3 key areas or characteristics of being socially enterprising. So let's get the ball rolling. The first that we're going to focus on, which is the really critical area, is the 3 criteria of what makes up a social enterprise. The first is that a social enterprise is an enterprise that has a social mission to directly address social, cultural, and environmental needs and hopes. What that means and what's critical is that it does not indirectly address these things. And indirectly means that, they might be volunteering or donating. No. That's a corporate social responsibility approach. That's an indirect approach. This is where the focus is on directly addressing those environmental, social, and cultural needs. The second is deriving a majority of revenue through trade of socially and environmentally sustainable products and services. And then third, investing the majority of expenditure and or profit to fulfill their mission. Now, of course, what's really important about a social enterprise is that it aligns to its strategic direction and aims to achieve some form of alignment to the global goals. Now, what's really important here is identifying how your social value and your commercial value can be aligned so that you can fulfill on the social mission. So social value is often called your social change theory. And it begins with identifying the problem and really exploring that problem well. And it could be a community's problem, or it could be a client's problem, or an area's problem, but focusing on the problem first. From there, you look at, well, what could be a solution as possible outcomes? And in that process, you also look, what are the assumptions around those problems? And then thirdly, you look at what are the solutions as actions. You start to initiate the actions to achieve the outcomes that you want to address those communities' problems. Let's now look at the commercial value. The commercial value looks at the customer's problem. So see how there's an alignment here? The social value looks at the customer or the client. The commercial value, which looks at your products, your services, first starts with the customer's problem. Then your solution as a product or a service that you're going to sell to earn your income. And then you're going to experiment and develop the offering to be able to deliver that product or service. So you can see there's commonalities between the social value and the commercial value. Next, we'll look at the 3 mindsets to be socially enterprising. The first is your strength and abundance mindset. Now, this means you're focusing on the strengths in your community, the strengths in your organization, what's working well. And with your strengths mindset, you're actually looking at all the positives, all the great stories, all the great resources in your community that can contribute to solving the problem in your community. And you're looking at not the problem as a deficit or an issue. You're looking at possibilities. You're looking at abundance. You're looking at what's working well. And all of that together helps to build your abundance mindset. And then second, you look at, with that abundance mindset, that there are assets everywhere. You're not working from a deficit model. You're looking from the opportunity of abundance. And a really good example in a lot of social enterprises is that they focus on the resources that are achieved from people's waste. And so an example is the circonomy, where there's often waste used as a possible product or service, and that becomes your trade income. And then we focus also on revenue streams, not funding, no revenue streams. Now let's look at this more closely. Revenue streams means revenue equals funding plus earned income plus equity. Now funding is often seen as philanthropic funding. That's the grants and the donations and the sponsorship that businesses might give social enterprises or not-for-profits. But that's only one type of revenue. We need to be broader than that. We need to include the earned income and the revenue created from equity. So let's be focusing on revenue. Now let's look at the 3 structures to be socially enterprising. The first being the best legal structure. The second being choosing the type of social enterprise that best suits your product or service that you want to offer. And if you're not ready to be totally social enterprise and you're a not-for-profit or business that can't quite get there, start with a social venture. So let's have a look at these individually. Now, the social enterprise legal structure looks at 3 key areas. I love the number 3. So the first is looking at the structure, which is a not-for-profit structure where 75% of revenue is created through market revenue, which means through your trade, your earned income. And so here, that means you're either going to be an incorporated association, a company limited by guarantee, a cooperative, or a trust. Those are not-for-profit legal structures. Then you could be, if you don't want to be a not-for-profit legal structure, you could be a social business that looks at 50% of your revenue is reinvested. Now, that social business could be a not-for-profit structure or a for-profit structure. Now, the for-profit structure is a proprietary limited. Then the third type is a mission-driven for-profit enterprise. And that could be a B Corp. And of course, it's a for-profit structure, a proprietary limited, but the amount of profit that goes back into the organization is somewhat less than a social business. So those are the 3 different types of legal structures for being socially enterprising. And then we have the 3 key types of social enterprises. Now, there are about 17 different types, but I'm just giving you the 3 key types. The first being employment training, where there is a social enterprise set up to provide training and employment for vulnerable people. So often that could be a cafe that employs unemployed people or people with a disability. The second type is where the social enterprise meets a community good and provides services for a need. So an example is a DLD organization, and it provides services for people with a disability and for their support structure. Then the third type is profit redistribution. And this is where a social enterprise actually generates a profit, and most of that profit goes back into providing a service that makes a difference. For example, TradeMart. TradeMart provides its commercial product, and that is a wonderful, colorful shirt for tradies. And tradies would buy this shirt, and the profit from the sale of those shirts will then be redistributed into providing mental health services for tradies. And so that profit redistribution supports their charity in that mental health service distribution. Another example of the profit redistribution might be a buy one, give one. So the next one we're looking at then is maybe starting with a social venture if you're not ready to go the whole journey of being socially enterprising. So you could focus on a project that fulfills your mission and maybe aligning with a business to achieve that. or a product or a service or an event that earns money that could provide a reasonable revenue stream for you. Or it could be a business partnership that adds social value to your organization or to your social mission. So I hope these three different areas of characteristics of being socially enterprising really shows you how you could grow your social enterprise, or to be more social enterprising if you're a not-for-profit, or find out a way in which you can be socially enterprising as a business. So looking forward to our next Purposeful Friday. Bye for now.